Hi, Cancer. It's Denise with Divine Soul Astrology. Today I'm here to talk about the Sagittarius Full Moon, which is an exciting full moon because can bring us, can help illuminate where we need to grow and expand, and it can help us do that. It brings us wisdom. Yeah, Sagittarius is about the philosophy that we use in our life. Everybody needs to have their own philosophy and what we believe in, all right? So the full moon is May 31st. It's called a blue moon because it's we have two full moons this month, so they're calling that like a blue moon. Every once in a while it happens, and we had the full moon of Scorpio on May 1st. So on the 31st at 1:45 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time is the full moon when it's happening, right? So please check for your, what's happening in your, what time that is in your neck of the woods. Okay, so this is an intellectual access. Yes, Sagittarius is the teacher and the guru. And Gemini is also about learning. It is the cerebral mind. Gemini has to do with, the mind in terms of making plans and goals and, going to the store and, doing these activities or doing a math problem even, right? But Sagittarius has to do with higher realms and God, that type of, that type of kind of learning or higher learning, right? God and spirituality. Um, and exactly right. So even religion. So this is the higher mind over here. That's what they call it. And that's what we have here. So it's a learning. It's very much of a learning or an intellectual axis. And remember, Sagittarius wants to bring us wisdom, right? The full moon creates endings and new beginnings because it illuminates something for us, right? It can be a little kind of uncomfortable. It can. And here we start here with the full moon, which is being ruled by Gemini. The full moon is in your sixth house of health and work, excuse me, health and wellness and service and work, and also your daily routines or your obligations. It's a house of obstacles, really. And so is it has to do with your patterns, your habits, how you run your life daily. And the 12th house is where the sun is, ruled by Mercury. It's right here. You're here on the ascendant. The sun is also in the 12th house of obstacles. This is the 12th house of self-undoing, release, endings and release. It's also the house where we're supposed to trust our intuition, okay? And that access in terms of houses rather than signs is about grounding, but mixing or blending the grounding of your personality. We have to live on this physical world with and the practicality with your intuition over here. All right, believe in your dreams, trust your inner knowing. Right? We can't live with just one. Right? If you just go around saying that I'm intuitive and you're not being grounded or practical, your life is probably not going to be going really well, right? And then over here in the sixth house, if you are simply, ignoring your intuition and not going with the flow and you're pushing the river in life, but you think that you are doing everything right, all these habits and, routines, then that will not work either. In fact, I had a conversation with somebody about that today. Yeah. And, hoping that person will kind of see the light, right? And that's what the moon wants us to do. So Jupiter is ruling the sixth house for you. And this is a hidden house over here where the sun is. The sun's showing you something hidden. The full moon is showing you something that's been hidden, Cancer. All right. So, yeah, the full moon wants you to close out a cycle and release something. And yeah. And so Jupiter is also ruling, the ruler of the full moon, ruling your ninth house of growth and expansion. So, the Sagittarius or Jupiter rather loves the ninth house because that is the natural house for Jupiter. So this is strong for you. And Jupiter is ruling the house of growth and expansion and higher purpose, right? This ninth house is about what is meaningful for us, right? It is. So there's likely a powerful realization for you. Um, we talked about Jupiter ruling your ninth, and yeah, asking you, like I said, to trust your intuition. Jupiter is making a square from your sign, here it is, in your first house of self. Making a square to Chiron. So Chiron is in Aries, which is the sign of the self, Cancer. It's in your 10th house of career. But this is your 10th house of, it can be like your 10th house of long-term goals, the authority that you rule over your own life, achievement, ambition, and achievement. But it's about social roles and how you show yourself to the world. So there's some type of wound here about your own public role or your social role, or maybe how you think people see you, because it has to do with how you show yourself to the world. Chiron wants you to get over it. Chiron is shown here as a key. So Chiron, is a wound that we sometimes can sabotage ourselves with. Yeah, when I heard that, I was like, well, that makes a lot of sense, right? And yes, it does. So it's in that 10th house. It's trying to leave and to move to your 11th. So it is really kind of giving an opportunity here. It's kind of saying, look at me. It's time to let something heal because it's in the sign of Aries. And Chiron is related to, our reflecting, like, like you're meditating and reflecting on introspection, on what is important for your life. Alone time, right? We all need that. We can't just be running back and forth. We'll never really truly understand ourselves. And a lot of people need alone time, downtime. I know I do. That is part of my part of fortune here. I need a lot of alone time. So it's kind of meditative, right? But here we have, and that square here, Cancer, is just asking you to make an adjustment about yourself. Let something go. Let something like really heal here. It's kind of pushing you to do that. And the Sagittarius full moon can help you do it, right? Because Jupiter is doing that, making that square. Yeah. Um, and so, yes. And we also have Mercury now. Mercury is the ruler of the sun. And where is good old Mercury? In your 12th house. It is next to Uranus. Uranus, this wants you to see the change that is necessary, especially in the 12th house. The change that will bring innovation and progress in your life, or we can call it growth as well, because that's really what we're talking about today with the Sagittarius full moon, right? So Mercury is in that 12th house, leaving, going to leave. To want you to see and understand. Mercury is your thinking and your brains. So Mercury is saying, look, I'm over here, dressed up as the student with the little hat on. That's what I like to say, um, because it looks like one, right? And so Mercury is ruling your 12th house of endings and release. This is also the house where you transcend, and transcendence is it's related to transcendental meditation, where you're able to just overcome spiritually things that bother you or that keep you held you down, or things that have been hindering you, or you can even be wounds of the past, right? It can get really deep. Transcendental med, transcendental don't transcendental um yes, meditation. But um here we have and this is the house of fears, right? Where Mercury sits and the sun sits, but it doesn't have to be, because it is, this is, it's telling you, Mercury is saying, no, be smart about this, right? Mercury is ruling your third house of ideas. And so that's pretty good. That's because Mercury is your brains and your mind, and it's ruling the house of the mind and your brains. So it's ruling that. The south node is there, and let's see what the moon is doing. The moon is making a square to part of fortune and the south node. So don't pay attention to the DC and the MC, because they moved around since I have put you on the ascendant, right? And every full moon is important. Every moon is important for you because that is your natal luminary. It's not really a planet, but we like to call it that for convenience, sort of. So here we have the moon, um, and that moon uh, is making a square to your south node, to the south node in your third house of the south node in the third house. Is there's some type of thinking here that is wrong. It's like let it go, or let things let I maybe the idea, these ideas that you have, or the way you think about the past, let it go, because it's hindering. The south node has to do with things that are either lacking or wounds of the past, but whatever it is, it's very familiar and it limits our growth. And that's what the full moon is about today. It really is, right? So let something go. And part of fortune is in your third house. And this is where you thrive with your ideas. You thrive with when you are thinking like in your higher mind, really, right? The full moon has a lot to do with your higher mind. Remember, I was talking about that earlier. And so this is how you thrive by letting something go here. The sun is in your 12th house of endings. It could be the way you think about yourself, um, right? Because we have this big trine from the moon, all these trines to your 10th house of social roles and how you show yourself to the world in Aries in the sign of self. All right. So there's something that has to be let go so you can thrive. And Jupiter and Mercury are both trying to show us that, right? It's the intellectual axis. All right. Um, yeah. And so Venus is in your sign. It's squaring Vesta and Athena Pallas. So here's Venus. Where's little Venus here, right? Yeah. And so here's Venus, and Venus is making that square to these asteroids, really. It's at 14 degrees, and these are at, it's making the square um, to Vesta, yeah, and also to, as I said, Athena Palace. So Vesta wants it wants a quiet devotion. It's about balance and harmony, but it is related to the quiet devotion that we give to ourselves. Everybody needs that, right? Can't run back and forth and do the physical life thing or the, kind of the monkey mind all day long and every day, and because it holds us back from being aligned with the universe and God. It really does. So, and being grounded, but at the same time, co-creating with God, right? Or the universe. So we have the square here. Venus is about self-worth. It's about your well-being. And it is about your material gain. It's about your relationships, and how you create harmony in your life. The square is there, and this Vesta is here, and with the full moon and Jupiter in your first house, it is definitely asking you, inviting you, even encouraging you deeply to make an adjustment here about something that is related to the self, because it's Taurus. And remember, we have Chiron there as well. And this is your 10th house of how you show yourself to the world. So, and this can help improve your career, your authority in your own life, your ambition and your achievement. That will help. It's asking you to make that adjustment. All right. We also have Saturn there. Well, Saturn is really, yeah, Saturn is definitely um, part of the square. Yeah, interesting there. And so, because Saturn is at 12 and Venus is at 14, Venus has already moved away. It's a separating square. But, Saturn, especially in the 10th house, Saturn is about, our resilience. Yes, it is about the structure that we give to our own lives so we can achieve and stand in the social role that we deserve. Not necessarily money, but show the world like kind of your higher self, right? So that resilience is there, also asking you to make an adjustment that will help you to really thrive. When we see Venus and Jupiter in the first house, this can be about thriving as well. It really can. They're both benefics. Yeah, they both are. Um, even if Jupiter can like exaggerate sometimes, but we have Athena Palace there as well. Athena Palace is it is about for us noticing our emotional patterns, because if we don't notice them, right? And remember, Sagittarius is in your sixth house of habits, which are patterns. If we don't notice those if we don't understand ourselves and the patterns that we keep repeating, we can't get anywhere, right? So that Athena Palace is related to our wisdom and our strategy, but only after we see these emotional patterns, right? That we have been doing, right? So there you go. So I'm going to end this reading. And thank you so much, Cancer, for joining me here. If you'd like a reading with me, check out the description box below. My website is there. Please like, share, and subscribe. Hit the bell so you can be notified of my next video. I have a lot of great astrology readings. They're all to help you. They're not just to tell you about your gifts, which are all there, right? They're really to help you transform and be your best self. That's what I like to do. I'm a Sag, and Sagittarius is called the guru. Yeah. Thank you so much for joining me here, and have a good one.